evening. I'm Chaiti Narula. You're tuned into WION World is One News, and this is WION Wallet. As always, let's take a look at the headlines from the business world from around the globe that are making its way at this hour. McDonald's has agreed to sell a controlling stake in its China and Hong Kong operations to a group of investors for about $1.7 billion. Flipkart elevates former Tiger Global Management Executive Kalyan Krishnamurthy as its new chief executive, replacing co-founder Prashant Bansal. The Sensex closes higher by 173 points, while the Nifty rises 53 points to close in at the 8,289 marker. Market regulator SEBI, which is the Securities and Exchange Board of India, puts the onus of corrective action on National Stock Exchange of India Limited after a forensic audit found that NSE's algorithmic trading platform and co-location facility were prone to manipulation. And McDonald's has agreed to sell a controlling stake in its China and Hong Kong operations to a group of investors for about $1.7 billion. This is a key component of the fast food giant's reorganization in a market where it's struggling really to catch up with more nimble rivals. Chinese state-backed conglomerate Citic Capital Holdings and U.S. private equity firm Carlyle Group LP will acquire an 80% stakeholding in a deal valuing the business at as much as $2.08 billion. The new owners plan to add more than 1,500 restaurants over the next 5 years in smaller Chinese cities. So clearly an expansion plan really on the pipeline as far as McDonald's is concerned. And you also have McDonald's and rival Yum China Holding Incorporated, which operates the KFC and Pizza Hut brands in the mainland, are among the retailers that are trying to fend off domestic competition and attract middle-class Chinese consumers who increasingly demand high-quality and healthier dining options. Well, the Asian investors unwilling to splurge on owning their own European soccer teams are now showing their enthusiasm by helping fund the sport. Sales of football finance notes backed by television rights of soccer clubs doubled to $11 million last month from the amount issued in April when they were opened to investors in the region, according to the data from Swiss Asia Holding Private Limited. The Singapore-registered firm that operates the investment says total assets in the securities globally stand at $40 billion and will likely reach $100 million in 2017 after Champions League club agreed to assign some of its TV rights for the note last month. And Fiat Chrysler Automobiles will invest $1 billion towards making 3 new Jeep models in the U.S., plus a Ram heavy-duty pickup now built in Mexico, as President-elect Donald Trump reassures the auto industry to hire workers and produce vehicles above the border. The outlays, which are planned by 2020, include retooling factories in Michigan and Ohio and adding 2,000 jobs. The Italian-American automaker confirmed that the Jeep brand will add the Wagoneer and Grand Wagoneer sport utility vehicles and a pickup model to its lineup as well. After improvements to a plant in Warren, Michigan, this site will be able to assemble Ram HT trucks now made in Saltillo, Mexico. Fiat Chrysler is circulating the plans before any potential criticism of the company by Trump, who last week threatened General Motors company with taxes for importing a version of its Chevrolet Cruze from Mexico. Ford Motor Corporation has cancelled a $1.6 billion factory, and the country will now invest $700 million in a Michigan plant. And we all know about the e-commerce space really in this country was a sunrise sector just about a couple of years ago, but a lot of restructuring and consolidation seems to have set in this particular sector. Now, a recent development is coming on the Flipkart front really. Flipkart has elevated former Tiger Global Management Executive Kalyan Krishnamurthy as its new chief executive, which is CEO, replacing the co-founder Prashant Bansal, who has been named as the group chief executive of India's largest online marketplace. You also have co-founder Prashant Bansal, who continues to be the executive chairman of Flipkart. As a part of the new organizational structure, Prashant Bansal will oversee functions such as capital allocation across all the group companies, the merger and acquisition activities, which is the M&A deals that the Flipkart plans to do, CEO selection at group companies such as Myntra, which recently got acquired by Flipkart. You've got Myntra Jabong and Finepi in what is being seen internally as a potential move to ensure the company's readiness for an initial public offering or an IPO in a few years. So for all you know, Flipkart may just end up filing the draft red herring prospectus to the market regulator and go to being a listed company from a private limited company that we are seeing. Now, the Bansals together currently own 14 to 15% in Flipkart. Under the new structure and in his new role as the Flipkart CEO, Krishnamurthy will be responsible for the Flipkart profit and loss account or the P&L. He will report to Prashant Bansal. Flipkart's current Chief Administrative Officer, Nitin Seth, is being elevated to the role of Chief Operating Officer or the COO, in addition to his existing role of Human Resources Head. Seth and Flipkart's Head of Engineering, Ravi Garipati, will now report to Krishnamurthy. Moving on from India now, let's take a look at the headlines that are coming in from around the globe as well. Saudi Arabia is working with PricewaterhouseCoopers or PwC on plans to cancel about $20 billion project as the kingdom seeks to shore up its finances. Ministry of Economy and Planning hired the consultancy firm to review $69 billion of government contracts with a view to cutting about a third of them. Projects under review include contracts awarded by the ministries of housing, of transport, of health and also of education. PwC, which is PricewaterhouseCoopers' role, also includes advising on ways to cut project costs or privatize them. Authorities will also set up the National Project Management Office last year to control capital spending and ensure that the government projects are carried out efficiently. And rather big news coming in there from the Securities and Exchange Board of India, and we will see the implication of how this impacts the markets currently as well in just about a bit. But before that, let's tell you what really is happening right now. The Securities and Exchange Board of India, which is the SEBI, is putting the onus of corrective action on National Stock Exchange or NSE after a forensic audit found that NSE's algorithmic trading platform and co-location facility were prone to manipulation and allowed potential preferential access to some brokers. The Securities and Exchange Board of India will ask the exchange to strengthen its trading systems, also fix the responsibility for lapses found by the audit, suspend employees who were at fault, and examine members who may have profited illegally or unfairly for that matter. The SEBI may also prescribe measures to tackle governance lapses as well. The corrective action may delay NSE's share sale. The Exchange Board said that it plans to go public via an offer for sale or an OFS at the start of April to June quarter after it resolves the allegation of unfair access to its algorithmic trading platform. Well, we will stay with the markets itself, but let's take a short break on that note. Markets wrap up next when we return. Stay tuned to WION World is One News, and you're watching WION Wallet. Thank you so much for staying with us on WION World is One News. You're watching WION Wallet. I'm Chaiti Narula, and it's that time on the show when we take a look at the global markets and how they're shaping up in trade. Let's start off with India first. The benchmark Sensex closes up 173 points today, snapping its two-day falling streak in intraday trading. Today, supported by value buying in select blue chip stocks amongst mixed global cues that we're picking from Asia, from Europe, and also from yesterday's closing of the American markets as well. This index was trading higher with the all sectoral indices led by oil and gas. You had PSU stocks, you had auto sector and the banking stocks as well trading in the green with gains. Now, sentiments were subdued ahead of India's budget scheduled on February 1 and caution ahead of key global events such as Donald Trump swearing in as the president of the United States later this month. As far as the commodity space is concerned, gold prices surged 330 rupees on global cues to trade at over a one-month high of 29,030 per 10 grams in the bullion market in Delhi. And of course, you saw increased buying by jewelers at domestic spot market supported the up move as well. Let's take a quick look at how the rest of the indices are doing right now. Staying with the Indian markets itself, as we said earlier, gold saw a fair bit of uptick in trade, but crude oil on the other side was down 0.39%, holding fort at the 3,562 marker. As far as the currencies were concerned, the rupee closed down 68.18 to the US dollar, and the rupee closed at 82.79 to the pound as well. Let's take a quick look at what stocks were making headlines today in trade. You had the market movers in trade like HDFC Bank that saw a 1.5% increase in trade. Force Motors up 4.5% in trade today. Kushal Trade up 0.32%, and Infosys almost flat but in the green, being a stock which is in focus at this point of time. As far as the American markets are concerned, the Dow ended down 0.38% in yesterday's trading session. You had the Nasdaq up 0.19% in yesterday's trading session, and the S&P was down 0.35% as well. As far as the Asian indices are concerned, you had the Nikkei down 0.79% in trade, and the FTSE as we speak is 0.38%, seeing a fair bit of uptick in trade today. The DAX on the other side almost flat, posting marginal gains as we speak, up 0.15%, holding fort at 11,581 marker. And as far as the CAC is concerned, trading almost flat but posting very marginal gains of 0.06% in the trading session. This morning, Asia was a bit of a mixed bag. You saw Hang Seng show an uptick of 0.83%. The Kospi was off the mark 0.3% in trade, and the Nikkei as well slipped 0.2% in trade as well. Let's bring in our markets expert now to give us a sense of what really happened in today's trading session. Prashant Bansal joins us live to share more insights on the markets today. Mr. Bansal, let's start off with India now. The benchmark indices, fair bit of momentum coming in. What's your sense of where the Sensex and Nifty is headed from here on in the coming week, which is the pre-budget rally, so as to speak, the markets are predicting? Do you see a rally coming in?
Good evening, Chaiti. If we were to look at the markets over the last couple of trading sessions, we need to look at what's happening globally.
Sure.
Globally, we have seen that the US dollar index has moved down from 103.8 on 3rd of January to roughly at about 101.69 levels today. Why the dollar index is falling, that is, I think, will give a key as to why the Indian markets have done slightly better over the last couple of trading sessions. There is a press conference which the President-elect Donald Trump is going to address on Wednesday. So most of the traders are fairly cautious in US, and they have booked their gains in dollar index. So with the dollar index falling, we are seeing that many of the currencies have just started moving up. Everybody is watching what President-elect Trump is going to be saying on Wednesday, and that's weighing very heavily on the currency markets. So that's one of the reasons the fall in dollar index is leading to an upsurge in the Indian rupee, maybe about 1% over the last couple of trading sessions. So that's the international scenario. On the domestic front, yesterday we had a statement from the finance minister saying that tax collections have been robust. So if the tax collections are robust, we may not see too much of a downfall in the corporate earnings. The another factor is IndusInd Bank, which released its results towards the end of the trading session today, the first major large cap company releasing the results. So their results were also slightly above market expectation. So coupled with the international scenario of dollar index falling and a robust tax collection and favorable corporate tax rates, we saw the Indian markets moving up. And we are almost in a pre-budget rally. This pre-budget rally can take the index to a level of about 8,500 levels in a very, very short-term phenomenon.
So you give us a sense of how the Indian markets really are shaping up in trade on the back of the US presidential elections, on the back of the dollar and the movement that we're seeing on the dollar front as well. Now, as far as the global cues are concerned that are auguring well or not well on the Indian indices, you've got that. Plus, you have the French and German elections which are coming up. Plus, you also have to see how UK really manages the Brexit as well. What's your sense on these other cues auguring on the domestic indices?
What we see is that FTSE has been consistently rising over the last few trading sessions. And why FTSE is rising? Because the pound sterling has been on almost on an 11-week low. So that's impacting the UK markets, with those markets going up. I think we got to wait till Wednesday. What's happening to the dollar index, that's going to be key. That is something which will define where the Indian markets will move. But yes, we are in a pre-budget rally, and with the French and German elections being there, we are seeing the fall of left liberals all across the globe. You know, if we were to put in the politics as well as the economics, we are seeing the left liberals, they lost in US. It started with the Modi phenomena, and probably a similar kind of a scenario we might see in the French and German elections. So which will lead to a rise in protectionism, more domestic job creation. So that will have a sobering impact on the Indian economy over the period of 3 to 6 months. But in the very short run, till the budget, we are expecting the markets to rally upward.
Interesting to see that we are going to see a pre-budget rally coming in on the back of course, the budget being populous as well. That's what we're expecting, because it's ahead of the 5 state elections as well. And the budget doesn't have a choice but to be populous ahead of these elections. Now, as far as the gold is concerned, I'm just taking a look at how gold is panning out. It's almost crossed the 28,000 mark and has ended in the green. What's your sense on the rally that we're seeing on gold as a commodity?
And Chaiti, again, gold, we will link it back again to the dollar index.
Sure.
Most of the times, whenever we have seen that the dollar index falls, gold rallies. So what we have been seeing over the last 7 to 10 trading session is dollar index falling, leading to a surge in gold prices. So till the time dollar index starts regaining strength, starts moving above 103.9 level, we will continue to see gold rally upward.
Now, that's from India. As far as Asia is concerned, we did see that Asian markets have started on a back foot this morning in trade. What's your sense of what's going wrong with the Asian markets? What kind of global cues are the Asian markets really relying on, and what's going wrong with them starting off on a back foot like this? And in fact, even if you see the Dow retreated further from the 20,000 mark as well, does that have any kind of an implication on how the Asian markets are panning out in trade?
On the Asian markets front, if we were to look at a slightly medium-term picture, most of the Asian markets are tied to the currency movements. So unless and until the strength in dollar eases, we will not see most of the Asian markets moving up. So over a medium-term time horizon of 3 to 6 months, till the time dollar index settles down, we'll continue to see weakness in most emerging markets, including the Asian markets. Though yesterday the Chinese PPI numbers were very good, but we got to see those reactions over the next few trading sessions.
I'm just going to come and shift focus now to America a little bit. Bit of a mixed bag in last night's trading session. You saw the Dow ended down 0.38% in trade. You had the Nasdaq up 0.19% in trade, and the S&P down 0.35% in trade. We're seeing that rally that we're seeing after the US presidential election somewhere is losing the momentum. Why is that happening, and what really will happen once Trump comes into power. Where do you see the Dow go from here on? Where do you see the American indices go on from here on?
Chaiti, if you were to look at extremely short-term movements, traders are a bit cautious. This is just the start of the earnings seasons in US. So many of the traders who have made large gains, they have booked profits over the last 2-3 trading sessions, coupled with the uncertainty and the Trump conference on Wednesday. So these three things together are holding the Dow. But if you were to talk about a slightly medium term to a long term phenomena, we will continue to see Dow surge till the time it starts coming down. What we are seeing is that there's a very, very strong rally in the US 10-year and 30-year rate. So if the interest rates in US are going to be increasing the way they are, dollar will strengthen. If dollar will strengthen, this would also lead to a surge in Dow Jones. 20,000, it almost touched the 20,000 levels, just short of about 0.66. We see those levels being crossed shortly, and Dow Jones is headed upwards, clearly upwards, and Nasdaq is rallying.
Sure. Thank you so much, Mr. Bansal, as always, for joining us on the Markets Check. Really a pleasure to have you on the show. That's it now from the entire team of WION Wallet. See you again tomorrow at the same time. Stay tuned to WION World is One News for more news and updates from across the globe throughout the day. Thank you for watching. This is Chaiti Narula signing off.